Barry Levinson, great to see you. Thanks for being here.
Oh, my pleasure.
Barry is here as we continue our series of political films culled from the New Republic's list last year of the top 100 most significant political films of all time. It's worth mentioning that you have a film on this list. Number 54, Wag the Dog.
Oh, that's nice.
Barry is here to talk about number 10 on the list, As a Face in the Crowd. Director Elia Kazan, screenwriter Bud Schulberg, 1957. What draws you to this film? Why you think it's so resonant?
You know, I saw it when I was a teenager, and I thought at that time, this is like an amazing statement about television, the power of television. And if a character comes along that's charismatic, you know, you can see where this film goes in that regard. And I thought, well, it's the first time that in my recollection, that a film was sort of talking about this instrument, this form of communication and what it might lead to.
You know, it's always described, certainly thought of by many people at the time, didn't do well at all when it came out, but as a satire. And I see why it would be considered a satire, but it really doesn't play satirically at all when you watch it now.
I never thought of it as a satire. I thought it was like a drama that's addressing an issue, the dangers of this new invention and how powerful it can become.
I think it surprises a lot of people to see Andy Griffith in this role of this really terrible person, because he later became known as Sheriff Andy Taylor on the Andy Griffith Show. That role did not exist for him yet. As a director, as someone who has crafted great performances out of actors, I'm going to guess it surprises you less to see someone deliver a performance that is so unexpected, certainly to modern audiences.
Well, it is unexpected, because he used to do some kind of, as I remember, some monologues.
Yeah, he was, and that was his thing, right? He was a stand-up, right?
Yeah.
But he didn't sort of tell one joke, he told long stories.
No, it was like, exactly, in that kind of folksy manner.
Right.
And then this film takes that folksy manner and then shows the dark side of the man.
Yeah.
Which is, you can see how deceiving, and that a person has, personal television has a persona, and that persona can be very powerful. On the other hand, that person is not like that.
Right.
And television, because you're seeing the person, which in a sense is slightly more dramatic in a fashion as opposed to radio, because it's just a voice. It's when you put it all together, and I think that's where the power of television is, that someone who has a certain charisma and a certain kind of attitude and a certain kind of look, that they can hold an audience. And where does that all lead?
Two great writers, Bud Schulberg here with this one in 1957, and two great directors, Kazan here in 57, and then we jump forward 19 years later and we get Sidney Lumet directing Network with a screenplay by Paddy Chayefsky. Network feels like the younger, more aggressive brother to A Face in the Crowd. It's really hard to imagine a time when people pushed back against these films, like suggesting that this kind of thing could never happen, that we weren't as weak, as impressionable as we are to this sort of demagoguery.
No, it's true. On the other hand, we don't want to believe it.
Right, we definitely don't want to believe it.
And I think, we see that. I mean, if you think about it, putting all things aside, you'd say this was 1957. 1960, Kennedy comes along.
That's right.
And rises to power. Now, he didn't have that dark side that Lonesome Rhodes had, but that charismatic individual and being able to see that person, how do we respond to it? The movie explores that very well.
Barry, thanks very much. We'll speak more frankly about this film after we see it.
Okay.
Here it is from 1957, directed by Elia Kazan, written by Bud Schulberg, cast led by Andy Griffith and Patricia Neal, also with Walter Matthau. This is A Face in the Crowd. I am back with writer-director Barry Levinson, who's joined us to talk about A Face in the Crowd, number 10 on the New Republic's list of the most significant political films of all time. This is the movie you really wanted to talk about when we reached out to you.
I've been fascinated from the time I saw it. I was a teenager. And I used to talk about it, but no one ever saw it. I'd mentioned, Face in the Crowd, what is that? And I said, well, it was Elia Kazan. And somehow it's... people didn't know about it. It wasn't seen, and I don't know exactly what, but I thought this is such a fascinating, story. And of course, I'm a big fan of Kazan, and I thought that in many, many ways. The story obviously is fascinating, and also the rhythms that he uses. There's an aggressiveness to the film. It's constantly moving and pushing forward, and it's one of those things that just sometimes you see a movie, and it just stays with you.
Yeah, it is propulsive. There is not a which is like Lonesome Roads, right? You don't get the feeling this guy ever relaxed, ever could really sit back. And once he had a sense that power was there to take, he was gonna, every situation was, how do I manipulate this to suit my power?
And Patricia Neal was perfect in that, helping him to the rise and then seeing, in a sense, a monster that she created. Outstanding performance.
And I think Anthony Franciosa, too, that character could stand in for, oh my God, so many people in public life who attach themselves to a rising political star, no matter their faults. There's no suggestion that Anthony Franciosa believes anything. What he believes is, I'm going to hitch my ride to this guy.
Yeah, and he's very interesting in it. I love when he was doing, like, an early part when, with Vita checks, and Andy Griffith's character is doing the thing, and he's in the background going boom, cha-doom, cha-doom.
Right, just
boom,
giving
it some rhythm.
I'm your band. I'm your backup vocals. I'm your right. So he played Joey De Palma, by the way, the Anthony Franciosa. I don't think I've ever used the word prescient except when describing A Face in the Crowd. Like, I can't even a little bit network, but it is. Peering into the future for Kazan and Schulberg, and understanding something so keenly is amazing.
No, it's it's insightful that it sees that to see an invention and then writing about the dangers of the invention. And it's sort of fascinating that you can do that. Now, every so often some films will hit on that. I mean, when you're writing, you don't know exactly. You can't predict the future, but you can sense this is something that could be worthwhile to explore.
And the notion that if somebody sort of pretends to identify with the common man, and they're charismatic and good and glib and can keep going, and mistakes don't slow them down, they just power through them, that it can just work. And it's not because the common man are suckers, it's because it's in all of us, right? I mean, we're all exposed to being manipulated that way.
Well, there's also the fact that what happens is, you don't necessarily know how people perceive you. And then once you realize that they're connecting to you, then sometimes you begin to change because you begin to understand the power you have over another person. And then it just keeps accelerating and accelerating. And that behavior can become much more of what I want. What am I? I'm in charge. Everybody loves me. It rises to another level that becomes dangerous.
Barry is a Best Director Oscar winner for Rain Man. I appreciate you taking the time to come in and talk to us. Thank you.
Pleasure. Enjoyed it. Thank you.
Stay with us. The political movies continue on TCM. And of course, as always, they're uncut and commercial free.
Next on TCM. Wag the Dog, then the murder of Fred Hampton, and later JFK. There's a conspiracy on TCM tonight.